be doing on the Founders Packs Premium Tanks that have just came out today, and where, of course, we're playing on the Xbox One edition here of World of Tanks. Just dropped this morning, and I'm pretty hyped for the the Xbox One release and stuff, just because the game is just visually it's just so visually, every aspect, all the tank models, all the maps and stuff, they just look absolutely beautiful. So this time we are going to be doing the T95E2, which is another one of those tanks that the PC has. But it's really rare to come by one when you're actually playing on the live server. The only way you can get this tank on the PC version is by going through the Refer a Friend program, and to do that you have to give the email to the person who referred the friend, and then the secondary account has to actually get a tier 10 tank for you to get this tank rewarded onto your account. So it's kind of tedious and time consuming trying to get this tank on PC, but again, Wargaming on the Xbox edition has come through with all these cool unique premium tanks that sometimes the PC players don't actually get their hands on that often. So this time this is the T95E2, and this is a new Tier 8 American medium tank. It has preferential matchmaking, thank God. As you can see there, it says it only plays up to Tier 9. It does have a credit bonus, despite what some people may say. In the gameplay I show you, you are going to be able to see that in the aftermath, you'll see how much change I make. But yeah, so this is a Tier 8 American medium, and you get 1,500 hit points with this tank. And you also get 9 degrees of gun depression, which is pretty huge. Like the Super Pershing has 10, but this tank is pretty quick, and it actually has a very decent turret. You may be looking at this thing, maybe thinking, wow, that looks a lot like the Patents turret. Funny, because it actually is. That is the M48 Patents turret on top of this weird chassis, and you actually only have a 90mm gun fitted on top of this thing. So let's jump right into it and look at the armor profile real quick. So you've got 95mm on the upper hull, on the side, and 25 on the rear on the hull, and then you have 178 on the front of the turret, 102 on the side, and 51 on the rear. So on the hull you got the 95mm, but look at that sloping. It's pretty steep. And I actually did some digging, and I looked on my World of Tanks Inspector app on my phone, which, if you guys haven't already downloaded it, it's free in the App Store. I believe it is also on the Android market. It's the most useful app for World of Tanks. If you ever need an app for armor values and stuff, you need to download it. It's free, and I was looking on there to see what the effective thickness of this upper plate is. And if you're actually looking directly at right now, the upper plate effective is like 158-ish. And if you're kind of sloped back, looking down at someone, it's even thicker at like 180, 190. So some Tier 8 and some Tier 7 guns are going to have issues penning your upper plate, but then again, your lower plate is pretty big, and it is a weak spot. Now, you can side scrape with this tank. I wouldn't do it that much, just because this tank has a very decent turret for Tier 8. You may be thinking, oh man, the Patents turret, it kind of sucks. But that's a Tier 10. You've got tanks with like 290 pen shooting at you, 268. The minimum pen at Tier 8, their Tier 10 is like 235 on the U100, and that's the Tier 8. That's like the highest Tier 8 pen on the the Leva for a heavy tank, excluding the T34. But you've got this tank pretty much exceeds in hold down situations, just because this turret is very good. And you may be thinking, here, let me try to get that A thing. Alright, there we go. So you may be thinking, the machine gun, it's kind of a weak spot. It is a weak spot, but at Tier 8, the machine gun, the actual, the thing that covers the machine gun itself, that little plate, it actually is pretty troll. When I was playing around with this tank this morning, there was a situation on Erlenberg where I was shooting in another one of these things with mine, with an AP round, and I just kept bouncing off the machine gun. I was trying to hit it under the machine gun, but it just kept hitting it and bouncing off. It was a little bit troll. So that might be a little bit of a troll spot. And then the rest of the turret, if you actually look at it front on like this, the effective thickness of the Patents turret is actually pretty good. Everywhere except for right under the gun mantlet there, it's actually just a flat 178 or 177. Everything else around it is pretty well sloped. And Tier 8 guns are going to have some issues penning this. Along with the gigantic gun mantlet, you can pen the gun mantlet if you shoot closer to the gun, but on the outside edges of the actual gun mantlet itself, it is extremely thick, as it counts as like extremely thick spaced armor, and you're going to be having armor values upwards of 400 millimeters if you're shooting at the outer edges of the gun mantlet. So I advise only shooting at the gun mantlet if you're shooting right next to the gun, because you will go through. It's very easy to pen. But keep in mind, if you do get bad RNG and shoot the outer parts of the gun mantlet, it's just going to get completely eaten up and nothing's going to happen. I even have this issue at tier 10 when I'm shooting at M48 patents with, like tier 10 guns with super high penetration. So, this turret can be really troll, and with the 9 degrees of gun depression, you are going to have some serious flexibility when you are working ridges. Now, let's move on to the modules. You've got a 560 horsepower engine, which is a little bit on the low side, but I don't actually know the exact weight of this tank, but you can get going pretty quick. If you look at the stats here, you can get up to 56 kph with this thing. I think that's only on flat ground. I was only getting, like 40, 45. Excuse me. But the, 56 kph, you can hit it. This tank is pretty quick. It's faster than the Pershing. It's a regular tier 8 American tank, which I'm going to be comparing a lot to this tank because they are very similar in their guns and their accuracy and stuff like that. So the 560 horsepower engine, not bad, but it's not amazing. This tank is pretty quick and pretty maneuverable, so you're not really going to be having any issues. Going uphill is going to be kind of a struggle just because the horsepower on the engine is pretty slow, or is pretty low compared to some. So we do the gun last, and then track traverse 36 degrees. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good for a medium tank that actually has some decent armor. This is actually the same traverse speed as like the AMX 50B or the 113. Those tanks don't spin they don't spin slow, but they're not the fastest. So 36 degrees is not bad. And then we talked about the turret armor, and then we got 32 degree traverse speed, which is not bad, but it's not amazing. And then something I would also like to point out is the 390 meter view range, and if we actually compare that to the tier 8 American Pershing, you will be able to see that the top turret has 400 meters view range. So the Pershing does get a better view range than the T95E2. But keep in mind, the Pershing does have a very good view range for tier 8. This tank actually does have a better view range than some of the other tier 9 or tier 8 mediums. Just name one. Let's look at the T44 here. I believe it only has 380. Yeah, 380 right there. So, you do have that slight view range advantage, but the Pershing does have you beat there. So let's talk about the gun. So you've got a 90 millimeter gun here, and you got 8 rounds a minute. Now I wanted to compare that to the Pershing again. So you've got, wow, what was that? Oh, okay, America. So you do have a faster rate of fire than the Pershing, which is at 7.32. So, comparing this to the T95E2 gun, you do have the better rate of fire with the T95, but if you can see that penetration on the AP rounds and the premium rounds there, you do actually beat out the T95E2's gun. Oh wait, I actually went into a game. Oops. If you do actually go into the T95E2's gun, you will be able to see that the AP and premium ammo penetration is actually lower. So you actually only have 173 pen with the AP rounds as opposed to the Pershing where you have 190. That is the difference between penning like like an ST1 lower plate at an angle or something like that. It's the small things. And then I also wanted to point out that the premium ammo on this gun is heat. It is not APCR or high velocity armor piercing as the Americans like to call it on the Pershing. You saw that 268 pen on the premium ammo on the Pershing, which is one of the strong suits of the Pershing just because it shoots a really high penetration APCR at tier 8. You're not getting that advantage here on the T95E2, but you still are getting a 250 pen premium round. Unfortunately, it is heat, but 250 pen is sufficient to pretty much shoot at anything at tier 9 because since this does have pref matchmaking, you're not really going to have to worry about penning like tier 10s and stuff. So 250 pen is sufficient. You are just going to have to keep in mind that you will be shooting at spaced armored tracks like that. So you will have to keep that in mind when you are firing heat. So as you see here, the 2.29 aiming time, which is actually fairly quick for the tier 9 or tier 8 American or just tier 8 medium tanks in general. And then I wanted to also point out that this gun actually is more accurate than the Pershing gun. You saw that .36 accuracy there. I believe that the Pershing is .37. So you do actually have the rate of fire and the accuracy advantage. but you lose the penetration on the AP rounds and the premium rounds. So it is kind of a trade-off. But that's pretty much all for the gun on the T95E2. I feel like it is a very strong gun when you are, up against tanks that you know that you can easily pin weak spots on. It's not that good for shooting at, weak spots at a distance. You might have to load gold rounds if you're shooting at, like, I don't know, say like a KV4 or something like that. You will have to shoot heat rounds, and then you will have to keep in mind that you are shooting heat, so the shell travel time is slower than the high velocity armor piercing that the Persian gets. So let's go over the equipment fit here. And a pretty standard medium tank setup. I mean, nothing surprising here. Gun rammer, just to get that DPM up. It actually does. Since it does have the better DPM than the Persian, you do have a very high DPM with this tank. Just gun rammer making that much better. And then vertical stabilizer. As if any of you have ever seen any of my other videos before, if you can fit a vertical stabilizer on a tank, put it on the tank. Especially on a medium tank, you're going to be, taking clutch shots and stuff like that, and this just helps out immensely. And then vents, here again, just trying to maximize my DPM and just make everything else better. So pretty much, let's go into the consumable fit here. So we got 40 AP rounds, 20 heat, and 4 high explosive. The high explosive is really, rare for shooting at stuff like this, or shooting at stuff at tier 8. It's not quite as good as, say, like tier 10 high explosive, just because you're only getting 320 alpha with high explosive, and at tier 8 the artillery and stuff like that actually do have like 400 HP. So your high explosive is kind of obsolete unless you're shooting at like a Borsig or something like that. But that's really the only situation I could ever see myself using a high explosive round with this tank. But as you can see, pretty standard ammo setup here. I'm not really going for anything too crazy. You actually do get quite a healthy amount of ammo with this tank. As of right now, I only have probably about 10 games, 9 or 10 games played in this thing. Haven't had any ammo issues yet, so no problems there. And then pretty standard consumable loadout. I might swap this out for cola or something like that sometime, just to, test some stuff out. But pretty much that's all I have for the garage review. So let's get right into the gameplays.
Alright, so this is the only gameplay I actually have for you guys, but I feel like this is the best gameplay that I could get together. I was trying to get some more games together, but it ended up just being platoon stuff, and I couldn't like seriously show off just the tank itself because I had platoon mates stealing all me damage and stuff. LOL. But so here's the beautiful Sin River map, and as you can see, like, these graphics are just absolutely spectacular. Wargaming did a really fantastic job with going from the ground up on all these maps. It's really nice seeing all the little like shrubs and stuff on the ground, all the little grass and the that was never there, but now it is, and it just looks amazing. And right off the rip here, I'm just going to the usual medium tank spot, working this ridge here. This is pretty much I sit here the entire game, pretty much just work this. But this is pretty much the typical medium tank spot. I mean, the only 2 spots I ever go to on this map are pretty much right here and then up on the hill. So I mean, there's not really anything too special about Sin River in a medium tank. There's only really 2 spots that I could potentially go to. I mean, it could go south. This tank does have the gun depression to go south, but I'm sticking to my roots, and I've been working this ridge for a long time. So staying tried and true to the tactics here. And you're gonna see here, this gun is pretty reliable here. You're gonna see this first shot on this Jackson here. You can see that aim time is a tad bit long. It can be a little bit annoying, and then you can see this little sneaky little ketchup packet in the bush there. And I get a really nice tracking shot on him there, but he ends up fixing it and then just flying off of the hill. So I don't actually end up getting to get rid of any more HP off of him. And then I believe he actually does come up, and I actually don't know if I would have penned his gun manlet if I would have shot an AP shell at that, picking up the first kill there. You can see I'm just working this ridge here with the gun depression. This is the beautiful thing about having a tank with good gun depression. Is maps like Sin River, Westfield, Prokhorovka, it makes those maps just so much more easier to play. And then on top of that, you have a decent turret in the Patton's turret at having 177 millimeters at tier 8 is a pretty nice bonus. And I'm pretty much just looking for my window of opportunity here. I kind of play this like I did on the Wide Park games and the other 2 reviews or whatever. That ridges like this, you got to just play for the the peekaboo challenge here. And then you see there, I get the snapshot, or not the snapshot, but I get a nice shot on the other T95E2's turret there. There's a ton of these things running around today, man. There's at least 4 or 5 of them in each game on both teams, I've found. It's a nice thing to see. People are buying into this kind of stuff. It's really, I don't know. I feel like Wargame is doing a really good job. Seeing how far we've come in almost like a year and 3/4, or almost only about like 21 months or something. We've accomplished quite a bit if you actually sit back and think about it. But here you can see here I'm just utilizing this gun depression. Just exposing the super Pershing's weak spots. He gets taken out. And then here I try to get the snapshot on the MG turret there, and I'm just checking behind me, make sure no one's pulling any fucking fast shit on me, and just making sure I'm always aware of my surroundings. I found that it's a really important thing when you're working a ridge like this. You don't ever want to be caught in a situation where you're focused on shooting the guys in front of you, and then suddenly they push for the overmatch. Like this guy did right here. Had I not been, looking at the map and, constantly checking my ass, I would have had no idea this guy was here, and he probably would have put 2 shots into me before I could have put 1 into him. And then, this T21 here is just really pissing me off. And, after we kill this, or after they kill that T95, I'm on a mission to kill this guy. He's really being a pain in my ass. He was working that ridge pretty well and putting effective shots into my side as the armor isn't the thickest. And right here, I probably should have just been looking directly at him, but I don't know. I just kind of throwing away HP for no reason. I don't know. At the time, I was just trying to get the kill. And, looking back, hindsight's 20/20. And then you can see here that aim time, cleaning up another kill there on the other T95. I don't know what I think he was looking at got all of our teammates that were pushed into the base. So pretty much what you can take away from this gameplay is pretty much, this tank is really good at working ridges due to the 9 degrees of gun depression and the decent turret. And you're going to see here, when you're shooting at one of these things, you never really want to be shooting the turret if you are in a tank that doesn't have the best, standard ammo penetration. You're always going to be looking for the lower plate, seeing if he's over-angling the side armor. Those are the telltale signs of, you're going to get the penetration. Right there, you saw that the gun mantlet soaked it up, as I talked about earlier. The gun mantlet can be, just a really, really annoying thing when you're shooting at this tank. Even if you're in like a Tiger 2 or a Lova or a T34 or some tank with a really good penetration on the standard ammo. The Patton's gun mantlet's just, I always joke around, if any of you guys watch my live streams, I always joke around, the Patton has the best armor in the game, blah, 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 because I always end up just bouncing off of it, just terrible RNG. No matter what tank I'm in, it's absolutely hilarious. And then you can see here, just, the reload's pretty quick. And you see it's about like 6.4, 6.7, something like that. It's pretty quick. So you're spitting out 240 average damage per shot. It's pretty good DPM on this thing. You see there, pretty nice game, 3,500 damage there, and 230,000 credits. You're gonna see there, and I actually ended up getting the one of the 1.25 times silver ops. But if you take that percentage out, what is that? Almost 60,000 silver out of that. So you're still making like 160,000 credits. All right. So as you guys saw in that gameplay, this tank it's very, very, very good on maps where you are able to get hull down and you are able to utilize that gun depression. This gun is really, really good if you can keep it singing. You're not really going to be, this isn't like a super snipey tank. You kind of want to be on the front lines, not super front lines. You still want your heavies to be doing that. But if you do find a good ridge like I was on that game, you really are going to be able to utilize the gun depression. And you can use that turret armor. Some people may think, oh man, it's the M48 Patton's turret. It sucks. But it is pretty strong. At tier 8, it is a very, very, very viable turret. And the machine gun just seems to be pretty troll. I know you didn't really see much of it in the gameplay or whatever, but through the 9 or 10 games that I played in it, bouncing off of it a couple times, it is pretty weird sometimes. I feel like if you just hit the top part of it, it just bounces up. With the new ricochet mechanics they added in, I feel like it maybe if you hit the bottom part of it, it'll just ricochet into the bottom of the turret or the top of the turret, and it'll just go in anyways. But you know, I feel like this is a really strong tank for someone who's looking for a tier 8 premium that, but you know, they really haven't found that tier 8 premium that fits them yet. You know, they're looking for a ton of gun depression, pretty quick, good turret, and I feel like this is the tank for you. If you're looking for something that, you know, makes good money, is a good crew trainer, and it looks pretty cool, and it's just a cool tank. You know, I'm gonna be playing with it a ton, making some cash with it. You know, just you know, having fun, and you know, it's a really good tank. You know, I don't really feel like it has any glaring weaknesses besides maybe the maybe you know, like the subpar hull armor. But you know, you can't really ask for much more if you have such a good turret at tier 8. Now granted, I've been kind of hyping it up to make it sound like it's some amazing turret. It's not that amazing, but it's pretty much it's really good against pretty much everything that's going to be shooting at you at tier 8. So yeah. So that's pretty much it for the Founders Packs premium tanks for you guys. Again, I'm sorry about the technical issues with the mic problems in the first garage part of the review. I'm still trying to sort it out. I thought I would have it figured out by now, but I still can't figure it out. I'll hopefully have it by the next video. But you know, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube stuff. But this has been Achilles, and I will catch you guys later. And let me know what you guys want me to do next.